Rick, I'm not sure that most Americans have any idea the significant role that you have played in finally taking the cover off of a lot of secrets, if you will, that have been brewing for years. When you were Director of National Intelligence, you decided to declassify reams of material. My first question is this: Rick, how come the previous DNI did not do what you did?
You know, I have to say that anyone who would read the material and see what was being classified and see what was being held by the intelligence community, and then compare it to what people were spinning and saying on the outside, I felt right away that the American people deserved the transparency and deserved to know the full truth, and that they weren't getting the truth. This is, I think, the system in Washington, D.C., Governor. We know that the types of people that live in Washington, D.C., you know, the reporters, the lobbyists, the politicians, they all live, work, go to church, go to school, see each other at restaurants. They're all interdependent upon each other. And I think that we no longer have a system where it's Republicans versus Democrats so much. It's really a system where it's this Washington, D.C. insider versus the outsiders. And when I read the information, it felt like the outsiders needed to see the real information because they were being duped.
You really did, though, take the lid off. And I want to say, I just don't think Americans appreciate the significance of what you did, because one of the things that was revealed was that all of this whole thing about the Russia collusion was an absolute fabrication that was started by the Hillary Clinton campaign in the summer of 2016. We went through years of investigations and Adam Schiff beating his chest and having an impeachment trial for something that should never even have happened. So why didn't the Washington press corps at least acknowledge the truth? I find that hard to believe.
We have a whole group of national security reporters in Washington, D.C. that are highly political, that are all about politics first. And I think this goes to this idea that they all live and work in Washington, D.C. You know, we collectively and jokingly call it the swamp, but I think that that's what it is that the people who live and work and depend on each other and want new jobs and social status all can't really speak out. But here's the good news, Governor. We did have some career intelligence officials who early on in 2016, early on in the process, in the very beginning of the process, said, this is Russian propaganda. This is not true. And Hillary Clinton and the Steele dossier people are using this propaganda and pretending like it's the truth. And so we can be proud that we did have some career intelligence officials who raised early red flags. The problem is that they raised those red flags and then were promptly ignored by the political people above them, and their words were classified and pushed away, which is this classic game that the intelligence community can play, which is to say, that's classified information, we can't tell you, or they classify certain information that protects the intelligence agencies, doesn't protect sources or the methods that we use to get that information. It protects the PR angle for many of the intelligence agencies. And I think that the American people need to have faith in their intelligence agencies. And the way that they gain that faith is to be confident that those on the inside are doing their job, and that's where transparency comes into this.
Well, we can hope that there's going to be some accountability. I mean, from the FBI, the CIA, from people inside the Obama White House. One person that's been somewhat of a surprise who continues to stonewall is Gina Haspel, who is the director of the CIA. Who's she covering for?
Let me just say this, because I think it's really important. Transparency is not political. Transparency is not for Republicans or Democrats. Transparency is what the American people want. I will give you that it's a rare thing in Washington, D.C., so the people who live and breathe in Washington, D.C. are afraid of it. They're afraid of it for a variety of reasons, because they will be held to account. And also, I have to say, that we have a press corps that only deals in black and white right now. There's no nuance, there's no gray. We can't have two things being equal, or, we have problems with anyone who tries to be thoughtful on these issues. And that's sad. So I think that all cabinet officials, all Trump cabinet officials, have a duty to be forward-leaning on transparency, especially when it comes to the Russian collusion hoax, because we were given something, we the American people were given something that is absolutely not true. And the sad part is we inside the government knew it wasn't true.
All right, Rick, we've only got a minute left, so I've got to jump into the big tech story of the week, where Twitter basically has just decided that it's not going to allow a reputable newspaper to air a front page story on the Twitter platform. Silicon Valley is out of control. What's the answer for this?
I got to tell you, Governor, I cannot believe what I'm seeing this close to an election, and even just from big tech companies censoring. This is the United States of America. We're not supposed to be censoring, information we don't like, or political information that is going to go against people that we're supporting. Clearly, big tech supports Joe Biden. There is no question about that. And yet, big tech is really moving hard to try to limit the damage, because what we see from Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden, they are clearly corrupt. 47 years in Washington has created corruption. There is no question about it, whether it's China or the Ukraine or a whole bunch of other countries. So I feel like we've got to expose this, and people need to start working hard to look at the information to see the corruption.